having me. Obviously, I'm here to learn as well. I do have to thank Wes, not so much for putting me behind Benny there. Just a footnote for you guys, last couple weeks ago we all went down to the NHL coaches clinic and Benny presented a very, very good presentation. And Frank talked about the evolution of us as coaches, and I'm sure Dave's around for this, and Benny's strides that he's made as a coach from sitting in that office at the Jack to the presentation that he put in front of, I don't know, we're there 100, 500 people. He was the best presenter there. It was unbelievable to sit there and say that a friend of ours and a co-worker at one point was up there and he just knocked the socks off of, there were some big names up there, some big NHL established coaches have been up there just blew it out of the water. So pretty proud moment for people that know him, and it was just awesome. So follow him. Thanks for that, Wes. I appreciate it. So he asked me to do skill development, practice planning, and with a half-hour time slot, a little bit similar to Ben, where it's tough to put it in there. I know you guys come to these things and you want drills, you want drills, you want drills. I went a little bit out of the box. You're not going to have drills. After the day's over, I'll stick around if anybody wants drills. I'm a drill core, for lack of a better. I love drills. I love talking drills. I love feeling drills. I love copying drills from people. So, but there isn't any in the presentations. So, just kind of the way I built this thing was where my head goes when I'm trying to build a practice with my staff, what we want to put into it, and how we actually at the end of the day come up with the product of the practice. So it's a little bit all over the map, but I think with a half an hour I try to take stuff out. I don't really want that. I really need that. So it's not as fluent as Benny's, but we try to make things work here in the half-hour time slot we have. So it's funny with his last thing that he put up there, that quote. I started with this one here, with the practice makes perfect, careful practice. I think that's us, and that's what we have to do. Practice for us as coaches, that's our controlled environment. That's where we can make changes, and in a game you can't. Something happens on the ice, whether it's a chance against a goal against, something happens. You can't stop the play. You can't ask the referee to blow a whistle down. Practice, you have the ability to stop. You don't want to get in the habit of stopping your practice, stopping your practice, stopping your practice, but that's your stage. That's where you have control. If you don't like something, you can stop it as a coach and make them do it right. And we talk about details all throughout this presentation, and I think we've seen it with Benny. Details, details, details. That's your job as a coach, to create details. You listen to the press conference clips of these coaches that are in the final, and it's details, it's details, it's details. And you create details and habits in practice. And hopefully it translates into the game. So throughout this, you're going to keep hearing me say details and habits. So we'll fire up there. So again, this one here, I stole that title there from Kevin Menina, Tom's Chicken or the Egg. So we're sitting here, okay, we're going to draw our practice up. So what do? How do we choose what to do our practice? You can't just go to a drill board, website, and pick random 6 drills. I like those drills and put it all out there. You should have something that correlates always to your team or your objective as a coach, what you're going to do. So these are kind of the 4 points you go with, and you got to have balance. I think when we go through these, it's all about balance. You get close to some people, you see some people. Practice the next day is all about the things we did coordinate the night before in our game, or it's all about the team we're playing the next day and a specific pre-scout to them. Or we're always working on our strength because it makes you feel good as a coach, and that's important to make the team feel good. But you got to have a balance of kind of all those things when I'm putting my practice together. And I think when you guys are together, what your team is, you have to make sure if that's what your team is, and you've identified that this is what my team does well, whether we're a skating team or a puck-moving team, well, you got to practice that. That's what you are. You have to be good at that. That's what you've identified you are. You better be good at that. And obviously, weaknesses and strengths. Weaknesses, no question you're going to work on that. And then we just kind of talk about contractions and the pre-scouts. So for me, just a side note of that, you're watching a game, your game card, something's not going great, whether it's your forecheck, your D-zone, you just write a note on your bench card, tomorrow in practice we got to hit on our face-off line, so we weren't very good. Something like that, and you implement that into your practice. So it's not just you get up in the morning, you randomly pick 6-8 drills out, and you go up there and you have practice. That's not great. You should always have a plan. Those are kind of the 4 points that I go on. So chicken or the egg, I don't know which comes first, but that's what it is. So we go on to this one. So Generation Y, that's what I always say to our guys. The group we're coaching now, the youth, They're Generation Y. Frank said, I have 2 kids. Why, Dad? Why, Dad? Why am I doing this one? Well, that's what these guys are too. So we can't be too generic. We can't go over the top, but I just threw this on here. Skate back hard. When you tell your player skate back hard. Well, they're going to skate back hard and they're going to stop. I don't want to skate back there. I don't know why I skated there, but at some point you tell them why they're doing this and why they're skating there, why we're stopping here. So this is just skate back hard. So at some point there's 5 points, 6 points of why they're doing that. And just a little footnote to this. So I'll take that skate back hard to a winger. Let's just say that's your winger you're talking to. And it's something I've learned over my years of coaching. Why he does that and to make him understand that. I know you don't have video of it all the time. You guys don't all have access to video and show you guys, but maybe you can tell that same winger to go take defense and dump a puck and go down to go get that puck. And then tell him to come around the net and have nobody standing on the half wall for him. Then he knows why he's supposed to skate back there. Then he knows why he's supposed to stop there. That's where he's supposed to put a stick there. So everything correlates to the reasons why he's doing it. If you just say skate back hard, they don't know why. They don't know why it's important. But if you put them in the position of maybe the defenseman or maybe the centerman, so now the centerman's coming through to support him, he's not there, so he's lazy coming back. So I think the more you can explain to these guys in practice or in video or in pre-ice drills to why you're doing something, it makes more sense and it gives you more, not power, but you just make more sense to why you're doing something instead of just being that screamer and yeller, skate back hard. Well, I don't want to skate back hard. Nobody ever told me why I was skating there. So kind of go through this and why they're doing it and kind of clears things up. And there's no, you'll see later, and no hidden agenda why. It's not just being a jerk and telling me to skate back hard because you want to see me work hard. There's all these different reasons for every little element. So I just took a basic statement of skate back hard. I think Paul said it. And now you got to go to the why. So that's why we're going to explain it to you guys. Factors in considering, again, obviously these are very generic. And the first one, obviously, that's basically for your first practice of the year and the ability of your players. Second one, a little bit more detail. You got to make sure when you're picking your drills, if you don't have, a couple kids are sick, a couple kids are away on vacation, whatever, and you only have 2 defensemen out there, I don't think it's ideal to throw a bunch of one-on-one drills in there for your team skate. That's pretty obvious, but it's something you got to think of. How many players we have on the ice. Then you got to monitor your reps. If I just keep having, one person drills or one person in the drill reps, and I got a big group. Well, now I've got 20 kids standing around. I got to make sure if I got a big group out there, maybe I go more in the line rush stuff and more in the things where I get more people involved. So you got to consider your number of people out there. Where you are in the season, obviously, is pretty key. At the start of the year, you probably find yourself doing a lot more teaching and instilling and implementing systems or whatever you're doing to get your team identity. Maybe at the end of the season, you got to look at their the condition where you are in the season as far as they could be tired, they could be hurt, they could be banged up, they could have a big game coming up, whatever. So you got to consider that when you're drawing up your tracks. And the last one, I think is probably the most important one, is your team morale. You could. I'm not a big season planner guy. I don't think in September I can tell you what you're going to do in January. So before you do your practice, there's some times where you might be on a losing streak. You've lost all your games on the weekend, and you're ticked off at your hockey team, but they're kids. They don't like to lose either. And you want to go in there and you want to yell at them and scream at them and skate them into the ground, but you know what? You gotta step back and say, that's not what these guys need right now. Maybe we just need funding. Maybe I need to turn their brains off and get back to fun. So you got to really look at that. Maybe they won 3 in a row and they get a little cocky, they get a little loose in their structure, they get a little loose in their details. So maybe you throw a little curve at them and you bang them on Monday with a tough practice, or you just ground them again. So I think when you're factoring in your practice plan, the team morale, where your team is mentally, you got to consider that. Make sure you know where your team is. Maybe bring your captains in, bring your older guys. You're all same age, I guess, in minor hockey. Just get a feel for your team. Where are we at right now? I've got coach retired. Coach, we just had a field trip today. We were on the bus all day to wherever. We're retired. So today's practice might change because you didn't know we were on field trips. Get as much feedback from your players for where the morale is, where their state of mind is. So I think you'll have a better practice. So that's it. Doing there. Again here, time management, we'll skip over that one because the next slide is all about time management, and it's the biggest thing of all. But I think when you're coaching, this is an important one for you. Every one of us has a personality, whether you're a laid-back guy, intense person, a detailed person, but you have to establish what you feel is important. And maybe that's important for me as a coach. I'm a pretty intense guy, I'm focused, and I always think to be prepared. I hate being out there just winging it. I don't like that. So those are the things that I want to make sure that my team knows. They know I'm ready. They know I'm ready to go. They know I'm intense out there right off the hop. It's not time to not be focused. So establish that right from your very first practice. It might be ugly, but they know what to expect from you. So they know what you are. They know what you're going to bring to the table. They know when they're driving the ring, this is what the coach is going to be. This is what his expectations are of you. This is obviously a big one too, engaging your players. I know, some coaches just stand on the wall and blow the whistle, and they don't move, and you don't talk to the players. You watch the drill, you skate off, and you're in the office with the other coach. You go, oh, Wes was pretty good today, or look, that Wes was pretty good today. He was flying it. Well, what we're telling them, great job, what a great play, way to be aware, way to be alert, great hockey, whatever. Engage them out there and make sure they know you have energy, they know you're engaged. It's contagious. They're going to get engaged too. They're going to want to be just as involved as you are. So make sure you're not just that pillar standing there blowing the whistle up in the middle of the ice and just a drill sergeant. So make sure you're engaged with them and have contact, have a conversation with them. That's very important too. So next one, again, it's a little bit, we'll get through that, but your drills, obviously, you start of the season, you're growing your practice, you're growing your drills. I don't say have the same drills. I cut some people. I have 6 drills, and I use the same 6 drills all year. I played for Brian Kilray, like Frank said, for 4 years, and we had 5 drills, and we did the exact same practice every single day for 4 years. Every single day for 4 years. We didn't have water breaks. We didn't have a chalkboard. We did the same drill every day. 4 years. Guys in Hall of Fame. We won the league for 3 or 4 years. So. What I'm saying is completely. Have your staple of drills, but make sure you can evolve off them. So again, it's about making them feel good and getting better. So you might start with a standard drill in week 1 or month 1 of your season, and by the end of the year, there's 3 or 4 elements added to that. And you just grow your drills and make sure your drills have the ability to evolve. And then again, at the end. Make sure you talk to them, make sure your staff, your other guys, your helpers, talk to them, how was practice, too hard, too light. I mean, they're always going to say it's too hard, but too bad. But, just make sure that, that drill was slow, that drill was too, we didn't have enough rest. Just be confident enough in your ability that you can get some positive feedback or some critical feedback from your other staff members or even the players that, hey, Coach, man, we really liked that drill. We felt good after that drill. Well, then you put an asterisk beside that drill, and you're going to use that drill again. So feedback's pretty key. Okay? Okay, Wesley, good. Okay, time management. This is the biggest thing for you guys. You might have 1 practice a week. Unfortunately, in our situation, we have 4 or 5 a week, but 1 a week, you got to be ready to go. So posting your practice, to me, again, goes back to you're prepared, you're ready to go, they're Generation Y. Show them the practice. You probably put a theme. I put a theme on the top of my practice. Where, okay, today there's going to be a lot of diesel stuff. Today there's going to be a lot of offensive stuff, zone actions. Today might be a power play day. Whatever. They want to know why. They don't want to, what's coach doing today is coach. Man, today is coach. What did we get today? I just put it up there. So they know. They can get their head around it. They can ask questions about it, and they know. Pre-icing your team. This is for you guys. You got 50 minutes of ice. Well, don't spend 45 of it sitting at the board drawing. Do that in the dressing room. Again, you're going to get their brains engaged early before you get on the ice. If you don't, your first drill is a disaster because they're still thinking about their girlfriend and how they got to the rink and what they ate for supper because they haven't put their brain on hockey mode yet. So if you pre-ice your team, allow them to ask questions, allow them to just get their head around it. And this one, for me, when I say detailed and pre-ice, it's important for details. That's where you create, I said at the start of the presentation, you're going to start and practice instilling details on a guy. So a good example is just go to the blue line, stop, and come back and take a shot on net. There's a drill. Well, the first guy goes and he stops 3 feet from the blue line and he comes in and he misses the net. Well, he's not detailed, but in your pre-ice, I would literally send it and I drop and I would make sure my line goes to the blue line. And that's on you as a coach. When you're detailed, you get to that blue line. And maybe that's not a great example, but if you're doing a breakout drill, you say, I want you as a centerman to come slow and low for this breakout. I want you to make sure you come under the hash marks and you draw your line where it just hooks inside the blue line on your chalkboard top. Well, that's not detailed in your drawing, so make sure you as the coach are as detailed in your pre-ice drawing where you have a little bit more time. That's where I want you to go. I want you to go across the hash marks. I want you to go under the dots. And then you say, hey, why do you want to go under the dots? It's going to give you more time. So whatever the reasons why, you go back to generation Y, in your detailed pre-ice, you're telling them why, and you're drawing it detailed, and you're using those references on the ice. You don't just say, hey, come go into the zone and make sure you get that pass from the well, you show them. There's the dots. I want you to use the dots on the ice as reference. So in the game, for us, maybe the next day, you say, hey, look where you are. You're grabbing the logos outside the blue line. That's why that guy picked off your pass. We practice you coming down into the dots, whatever, you're slow, and this is why you did it. You didn't do it. So again, generation Y, be very detailed in your pre-ice. And I think it just correlates to when they do it in the game, where you can ding them in practice, and that's where it starts, is all in practice. They don't do it in practice, you go back to the other slide, you stop, you go, hey, this is what we want. In the game, there's going to be a defender. In the game, there's going to be a defensive pinch up if you're not down there, so this is why we do it, this is why we're so detailed in practice. This, for me, again, is a pet peeve of mine. I don't believe in this. I think you guys would be shocked, some guys that know me. I've never bag skated with my team, ever. Scientifically, it doesn't work, first of all, and it's just a waste of time. Stretching on the ice, waste of time. You only got 50 minutes, your hour and a half, whatever. And again, that's an opportunity right there for your other people in your staff to engage your team, so they're not always listening to your voice, so get their head around it. If you have your trainer or another parent or whoever, take your team, take your team out and run the stairs and you're stretching out there, that all of a sudden their brain's going to turn on to hockey mode, then they're going to come into the room, now you're going to pre-ice them, now their brains are there. I guarantee you're going to have a better result of your practice than if you just walk in there at 5 to 7 and you just go out the ice and the first time they hear your voice or they hear anything related to hockey is the first time you draw a drill on the board, it's not going to go well versus you get your trainer out there, you don't waste the time, he gets to hockey head on, and then you go pre-ice and detailed, you're going to be way more ready to go for your ice, and they're going to be ready to go. So, anyways, this and setting up your drill, again, I'm kind of all over the place, but when you're talking to your staff, whether it be, I know everybody's volunteer, but whether you have just a guy out there that maybe not be on the bench, if he's just pushing pucks for you, make sure you pre-ice your coaches. That's as important as pre-icing your team. Another pet peeve of mine is I'm up there drawing a thing, and the coaches that I'm out there with, they're sitting there watching the drill, and they're trying to figure out the drill, and they don't understand the drill. Well, they need to have the confidence that when they're teaching the kids, they give off the impression, yeah, I know exactly what they're doing, this is the focus of the drill, this is what it is, and it's not, they're staring like kids trying to figure out the drill. It takes 5 minutes to pre-ice your coaches, and tell them what you want out of that drill. Whether it's again, I'll go back to a breakout drill. Hey, make sure, Wes, that you're watching those guys that they're getting to this spot on the ice. Make sure they're putting a target out for that. This is the focus of this drill that I want you as a coach during the practice to make sure when we come to this drill, you're looking at this and you're looking for this during that drill to make sure the kids are doing that. Secondly, just a side note of that, this, again, time management. Okay, where the pucks, where the pucks, where the pucks. Oh, I gotta put in those corners. Okay. Oh, I need pylons, I want pylons. Then you know, okay, drill 1, I need pucks off the corners, and I need 2 pylons. And again, it saves you time management again. This is just a little thing, just for as your season goes on, you give your drills names. I'm sure everybody has drill names. So instead of going, okay guys, we're going to do the 2-on-1 drill. Well, there's 4,000 2-on-1 drills. We're going to do the Colorado. Well, that's a 2-on-1 drill that we have in our book that we know, our guys know by 4, 5, 6 practices in. They know the Colorado is this drill versus the Utica 7-pass 2-on-1. We just have all these different names. So again, it saves you time when you're up at the board. Instead of going through the drill as the season goes on, or just the Utica 7-pass, and they just know where to go because they know the name and they can reference it. So again, we talked about the detailed board work, we don't need to talk about that again. This, I know guys go back and forth. Obviously when you're laying out your practice plan, you know, you got your 7, 8 drills, you're doing 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever, water break. I'm not a big believer in sticking hard to that. Obviously you have to do that for your time management. But if you have a drill that they get it right away and they've executed it sharp and they're going great and it looks good, they feel good, they've done enough reps, just move on to the next drill, because your next drill, they might stink, they might not get it, you might have to stop the drill like I said, you're going the wrong way, you got to go this way. So that drill, your 5 and your 5 might turn to 3 and 7 because this was banged out real good, it was smooth. Let's move on to the next one. And then this one they struggled with. So if I'm struggling with the drill, 5 minutes is up, done, over. If you really learn anything, I don't know, we just taught them to do it wrong. I'd rather take that extra 2-3 minutes, slow it down, stop it, do it right, and then we're going. So yes, you have to obviously time it out, but don't be scared to deviate 3 or 4 minutes either way, so you're good. Skill development, you asked me to do skill development, and this skill development, like Benny said, we could sit here all day and talk. I could talk for half an hour on shooting, I could talk for half an hour on stopping, and I could talk for half an hour on checking. So what I'm going to do here is kind of go through a couple of scenarios where you implement your skill development into just a very, very basic drill. So again, if you're doing just strictly skill development, I know there's so many coaches out there that do it. Actually, I do it here in a couple weeks for my shameless plug here, where it's just nothing systems related, it's just skill development. If you're the head coach, it's nice, they get sick of your voice. Trust me, I know my guys hate my voice, they hear it all the time. If you can get another guy to do it, whether you guys are, you're the minor midget coach, he's the major midget coach, you're gonna have a skills day, just swap, just so it's a different voice. Maybe they don't know that guy as well as they know your voice. They're going to pay more attention to him. Maybe someone drives home because he's not on it. Here goes Dave and talking about wrist shots. Well, now it's a new guy, a new voice. Maybe they get engaged with him. It's a different voice, gives them a break from you. This, again, make sure these guys are developing the skill. They don't know the skill. I think it's the most intimidating thing. I wouldn't do it, so I wouldn't ask a 10-year-old with 15 people in line and 30 parents up in the stands, okay, Wes, I want you to go out there and try to do a backhand sausage pass for the first time ever in front of all these people, and you're the only one up. Go ahead, stage is yours, Wes. You know he's gonna fail. He's gonna fail at it. So you know they're gonna fail when they're trying a new skill. Make sure you're not embarrassing them. So you spread them out all the day. So this guy might get it the first time. This guy might take 10 times to do it. But there's not the pressure of 40 sets of eyes watching them, so spread them out all over the ice, let them do it at their own pace, let them fail at it, let them individually try different things, figure out how they're going to do it properly, instead of pushing a guy out there and letting him fail in front of 40 people. It's pretty intimidating. So again, it's a little different when you're doing just strictly skill stuff. I think it's a different animal that you let them do it at their own pace, you let them do it not in private, but in the comfort of their own speed and their own level. It might be different, you use different lingo and language for this guy than you do for this guy. This guy might get one element of the skill, this guy gets a different element. So you got to teach every guy individually, and that's why it's individual skill development, so it's tough. So what I did is, if you go to the next slide, every drill has an element of skill to it. You don't just focus on the end product, and this is what we get hung up on a lot. And as we go through this, so I'm going to go through the skill development of this drill, and then at the end you'll see the drill and you'll understand what I mean. So this drill, there's a skill involved, which is a route. That's a skill. It's not just skating anywhere on the ice. You have to go to a certain spot, so you're in a certain area of the ice, and you receive a pass. You got to get there, so that's important. That's a skill. You can't just wander all over the ice. So the next one is pace. You can't just go 100 miles an hour in this drill, or you can't just go slow. There's pace. You get to a spot, you slow down. When you're in that good area, you receive that pass, you got to gear down, slow down, so you're in a good spot. That's a skill. Next one is your target. Okay, I'm the guy. And there's my skill. I'm coming around, I'm in my pocket, I've ran my route, I'm at a good pace. Now I'm there, am I presenting my target? Whether it's my forehand, my backhand, am I ready for that? Am I called for the puck? That's a skill. That's a skill that you have to learn in this drill. Next one, the passer. Don't let the passer off the hook. You run a drill and you're already, well, this guy, the end product is the first guy probably end up shooting, but the guy standing in line forgets to have a puck, or he passes off his back foot, or gives a bad pass. Don't let that guy out. He's got to be ready. He's got to have a puck. He's got to have his feet with him. He's got to have his head up. He's got to give a good pass. There's an element to this skill developed in this drill. Okay, now you've taken an angle, you've received that pass, now you're going up the ice. Where are you on the ice? You have presented the puck to a good spot, it's in a safe spot. Now you're over the blue line, you're getting ready to take your shot. Next one, the shot selection. Like Benny said, we have drills where it's a far pad, it's a dead angle shot, you have to hit that far pad. Well, if the drill is a far pad shot, you've done all of these skills, and you shoot it in his glove. You haven't done the drill properly, so you have to be detailed in your skill development for that. So now you've taken the correct shot, what's given to you, what's been asked of you, what are you doing after the shot. Have to keep in mind in practice, you never go back to line. It's either a second puck or play that puck until a whistle, which doesn't help with the flow of your practice, but habits, what we said at the very start, practice makes perfect. Go to any practice that we run, the guy comes down, takes a shot, and goes over and stands in line, and this puck is 6 feet from the crease. There's a tapping goal, habits, go to the net, follow your puck to the net, go find your puck, put it in the net. So after all of these things have been done, we talk about all of these skills that you can develop in this drill. You think, okay, this is going to be a tough drill. Like, you know, look at all the things we have to talk about in this drill. The drill is the horseshoe drill. Everybody's done the horseshoe drill. It's easy. Go ahead and do a drill. Let's do the horseshoe drill. It's the easiest drill that everybody knows in the whole wide world. And you can say, let's do the horseshoe drill to warm up the goalies. And that's your end product. But you just missed out on teaching them all these points in that drill. Now, I don't say you go through that every day, but when we talked about the evolution of your drill, you can touch on, depending on your skill level and where your guys are and what level they are, you can point out, hey man, you flew through the passing area where you were going too fast. You should have slowed down, you're in that area. You didn't run the right route to get into an area, you took a bad angle. You didn't give the guy a target, you didn't call for the pass. You can touch on any of these things, or you can just say, go to the horseshoe drill, and the guy runs a bad route, he's going 100 miles an hour, doesn't get his pass, picks up a loose puck, shoots from a bad angle, misses the net, and goes back in line. Well, you just missed an opportunity to teach this guy 8 skills in the simplest drill form in the horseshoe drill. So that's kind of where the skill is implemented into our practice plan. Now, that's just the horseshoe drill. So if you're doing a more complex drill, maybe you're doing a breakout drill, you've got to make sure that if you're a coach that posts up, make sure that that winger is posting up. It's not about the 3-on-2 down at the other end. It's part of the drill is the breakout. Are we filling our lanes to the neutral zone? Are we? You just don't look at the end part of a 3-on-2 drill off the breakout. And you're just watching that last 2 seconds of the drill in the offensive zone, you miss so much opportunity to teach these kids about the details of the all 3 zones and how they come up the ice. So that's really all I'm going to touch on with the skill development. I hope that example showed you where my head is. If you want to do skill development on an individual basis, then God bless you, that's a whole different animal. We talked about that, but make sure in all your drills, every single drill you do, there's more elements than just the end result. Whether it's a shooting drill, a checking drill, a face-off drill, you want to do a checking drill, well, your routes there, your stick positions there, your body positions, your pace is there. It's not just, well, I got the puck off the guy, so the drill was done right. No, there's so many points to every element of the drill that you can skill develop somebody. And skill development, it's so deep that we can talk about it all you want. That's why now there is the NHL and that RL is skill development coaches. So hopefully that makes sense on the skill development. So practice body, just for you guys, I'll quickly go through this because I know my time's up, but just a typical practice body of doing it. Your warm-up drill, non-position specific, just to get their bodies going, get their feet going, get their hands going, everything, and try to make it a familiar drill. I think if you try to do a new drill off the top, some people, well, they're fresh, the ice is fresh, they're folks, they haven't lost interest yet. But if they struggle at it, or they don't get it, or it's too complex, you didn't draw it right, it just didn't translate to the ice as well as you thought, you set the tone for your practice that it's not going to be good. If you have a drill out there that they know, they're familiar with, they can get feeling good about themselves, and it's only your first, now your practice is going. Everybody's feeling good. You feel good, they feel good. Now practice gets going, and everybody's ready to jump into things as we're feeling good. Okay? Next one, now you can start to get into your specifics, whether it's deep passing, forwards, going up the ice, whatever. So that's pretty standard. We have 100 of those drills, so we're good. Quickly go through this. Now, this is themed again. This is me. If we're themed, okay, this practice we're doing offense, okay, well now we've warmed up. We've got our D doing D drill. We've got our forwards going up the ice as forwards. Now let's combine them where there's different situations. It might be a line rush, it might be this, and it might be off of the face-off. I don't think enough people do that. I mean, that's the only thing in hockey that's stagnant is off the face-off. But how often are you doing, okay, we're going to work on our breakout, and normally you stand at the red line, you dump it in, and you'll break it out, right? Well, why don't you try it off the D's on face-off? And you'll find skill development, you'll have D and you have D at the OHL level, that the skill of that board side defenseman making a good bump behind the net for that guy to go get and go over the weak side, he doesn't own that skill. And if you don't practice a breakout drill off the face-off, that guy never gets to work on that skill. Because I don't think you're going to do a split and say, okay, he just go down to the end there and stop on that hash mark, take a stride and bounce it off the back wall and go back in line. But you're going to do this off the face-off, and they're going to learn to touch the angle of the stick has to be for that. So again, do something situational that you can relate to the game, why you're doing it, now you translate it into the game. Again, same thing, system specific, going through that, Wesley, I'm trying to catch up here. Again, this is now getting their brains going, almost a game situation, multi-dimensional, and what I like to do, whether it's the breakout, and we backtrack to maybe the warm-up drill, we did the second drill of our practice where it was by position where the D would be going back and breaking out a puck to whether it was forward on the wall or forward in the middle. That is implemented into this. So don't forget about the first drill you did. So you asked them to break a puck out 5-on-0, and you dump a puck in, but the guy doesn't go run the route, run the pace, do the little details of the horseshoe drill, where he's running the exact same route as that, say, the centerman. Well, you gotta, there's your detail, there's your, guys, you just worked on it three drills ago, this is the progression. Don't forget about that, implement it into this drill. So now as a coach, you're hoping that all those little things you practiced to build up to this drill, everybody's running the right routes, everybody's running the right details of the ice. Now we're coming up the ice efficiently in practice. And again, this is practice. If it's not right, you stop, you control it, you detail it. So in the game, you just look like Gary Otter's going up the ice, tic-tac-toeing it around, and you go, how the hell did they do that? Well, they practice it with detail. And that's how you progress your drills into these 5-man units going up the ice. It looks pretty slick, but amongst that 5-man unit, every single guy has a job that we might have worked on 1-on-0, 2-on-0, 3-on-2 basis leading up to it. Now the 5-on-0 busy at the ice looks pretty complicated, but everybody's just doing their job and the details within the drill. That's what we get to. This one, again, a split. Some people like it, some people don't. If I forgot to mention, when you do your splits, just be careful. And I'm not discrediting people that volunteer. You guys are the head coach. You might have your assistant coach can't make it that day. When you just have a pair volunteer that doesn't know your lingo, doesn't know your whatever. So maybe that's not the day for your split. Trust in your other coach. Go over what you want in the split, whether it's a forward D to do that skill development stuff. And if you're not overly confident in that guy or girl that's at the other end doing your split, there's always time for the fun games. They have to have fun. They have to have the smaller A games. And we make sure that down at that end, the less qualified the person that isn't as dialed in on your team on the split, make sure they're not sending a message that you haven't been sending. It's the worst thing ever. You can drill into your team this, and you got a guy out there you call split, you tell him they're on the other end and he's telling them the exact opposite of what you told them for 6 months. That's pretty depressing as a coach. So make sure that on that split that they know what they're doing, and if not, and they're just down there and there's nothing wrong with it, they're playing small area games, they're doing some little competitive thing, and it's all good. So last one, again, you don't have to do this, but you bring them all back in if you've had a split so they're all together. Every hockey player is competitive, have some competitive game, get them all going, get the chirping going, get them hooting and hollering against each other. And, you know, that's basically the end of it. And then, I mean, that's just one team practice. But then at the end, I always make sure you bring them in. At the start of practice, you set your expectations, and if they meet them, thank them for it. Just don't blow a whistle and skate off the ice. They appreciate, you know, you putting in your time. Appreciate them putting in their time and their detail to the practice. And then I ask our guys this all the time, and I thought, the other day, you ask yourself, you gotta ask yourself, you gotta yourself as a coach after practice, you know, how'd that go? Did I do this? Did I do this well? And beyond, ask your assistant coaches, did they do what? You know, how'd that one go? I didn't think that went well. Evaluate yourself, ask them if they got better. Hopefully they did. So, and then, you know, you take notes from that practice. That drill goes to the garbage. This drill goes to the top of the heap for drills that work for us. And you evaluate yourself after practice so you're not making the same mistakes again. Just like a player, if you have a poor practice as a coach and you do it again, you're not going to be coached for that long at this level anyway. So you got to evaluate, make sure you're evaluating yourself and making sure you're doing a good job. So I know I was all over the map there. I tried to squeeze it in there, West went long, but again, I'm here. I'm sorry I didn't do drills. If you guys want drills, I actually go out the board. I'll be here after when we're done. We'll chit-chat on drills. Hopefully a little bit of that made sense, or if anything did, great. If not, I apologize.
Well, Elsie, you didn't waste our time at all this time. You know, for a team that